7 far and wide for this man. James Wiseman is returning to the G League. And it came in a presser last night. We found out. Shout out Anthony Slater of The Athletic. Basically, what it was announced last night after the game that they were going to send James Wiseman down to the G League affiliate of the Golden State Warriors, the Santa Cruz Warriors, for an extended period for at least 10 consecutive days or more, was what was said in the tweet by Anthony Slater. And it was said that, maybe 10 days straight. Wiseman's averaging 6.8 points, 3.8 rebounds on the season. And at a glance, you're like, look, he's really not terrible if he was part of a center committee. But the fact that he's a second overall big that was supposed to be what you guys saw, what James Wiseman was supposed to be was what we saw Evan Mobley do last year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Evan Mobley is, even without the jump shot falling, still has an impact rebounding, playing defense, rolling, doing all the things that don't show up the stat sheet. Right now, Wiseman, we always knew he wasn't a great rebound positioner, like getting into position for rebounds. And we've seen him shoot threes and stuff. Like, there's been good flashes of dunks and blocks and all that, but it's been too sporadic that we need him to be more consistent. Even if really this wouldn't be bad if he was averaging 6.8 points and 6.8 rebounds. No one would be mad if he was averaging 7 and 7 right now in his minutes. Huh?
I would. So.
For a guy who hasn't played really, let me hear your take.
There's not a single soul on the planet that can convince me otherwise that the Golden State Warriors are any way, shape, or form better with James Wiseman out on the court, man. Every time he's out there, he's gone. Yeah, so he disagrees with me, but I watch the Golden State Warriors. I watch every Golden State Warriors game, start to finish. And it's the same thing that we saw in his rookie season. When James Wiseman comes into the basketball game, they are not good. They're just not good. He looked really good in the summer league and in the preseason where he was making plays for his teammates, but he's a little too trying to find his bag right now, and it messes with the whole orchestra the Golden State Warriors are cooking with. So you see that ball movement, like every game you see that ball movement. So yeah, I had a couple of things that they should have done with James Wiseman. It was either trade him and Kuminga, or trade him or Kuminga, or both, or whatever. You could throw him down in the G League where he can get the basketball, exactly what we saw with Jordan Poole, which they decided to do. Or if you're going to keep him on the Golden State Warriors, you need to play him minutes, although it makes your team a little bit worse. We're 15 games in through the regular season. So, they don't have the same depth. They don't have the same veteran depth where they really have like the time. There's time, but there also isn't time. They're 6-8. Their defense sucks right now. Their bench defense is outrageous. So I really like this call because I think Wiseman's a stud. I think he's a bucket. Same thing applies to Kuminga and Moses Moody, but he can't be getting DNPs and then come on in 4 games later and you can't just expect him to do well. And defensively, I'm perfectly set with Draymond Green, Kayvon Looney, and JaMychal Green. So I think Wiseman's still a year away. I don't think he's going to help out too much this year for the Golden State Warriors back-to-back championship run, but hopefully him being down in the G League helps him out.
So I want to show you something right here that I found interesting when I made a video on this earlier. This is the Santa Cruz Warriors G League squad right now. And I have it done by height. It contains a roster of James Wiseman, Jace Johnson, Trevion Williams, Zeke Moore, Guy Santos, Anthony Lamb, technically because he's on a two-way, Jerome Robinson, Ty Jerome, another guy who's on a two-way, Elijah Pemberton, Lester Quinones, Jakari McLaughlin, Jaquari, I can't say that, but Ryan Rollins, Dusty Hannas, and Pat Spencer. What do the Warriors do good? Guys who don't make the roster, they keep them around the organization. A lot of these guys could probably go to other teams or overseas, but they keep them around. I don't know much about Jace Johnson, but he's a 25-year-old rookie out of Marquette. That guy, not a development pick. I'm sorry, he would be on the roster right now if he was playing, if he was worth playing. What James Wiseman has right here is he's immediately the best player on this squad. That's a first.
See the name Pat Spencer?
Okay. Look. Let me rock. If you
No,
know,
you're right. I'm just kidding.
we love Pat Spencer. James Wiseman's the most talented player on this squad. And goddamn, I'm trying not to sneeze. Oh my god, huh? What are you trying to say? Huh? All right. So when you look at this Warriors squad, I think the problems go deeper than James Wiseman in the sense that Andrew Wiggins and Steph Curry has been the best two players on this team. Jordan Poole has had his moments, but he's been average at best. Draymond Green, average. Klay Thompson, still working his way back. I'm not giving Klay Thompson any crap. He's still working his way back. Really, the only guys off the bench that have been successful is Anthony Lamb, JaMychal Green. Okay. We had a great game last night from Jonathan Kuminga. But Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, it's just like you know what's a big thing is that when James Wiseman comes in the game, a lot of his minutes come without Steph Curry at times. And they don't have a backup point guard.
And didn't have a backup point guard last year.
I know, but if we look at last year's roster, because I knew you were going to bring this up. And I was going to be like, You want to hear something wild about this team last year? Even though they didn't have a backup point guard, they had Draymond Green dishing out 7 assists a night. They had Steph Curry dishing out 6.5. You had Jordan Poole dishing out 4. You had Andre Iguodala dishing out 4. You had Klay dishing out 3. Nemanja Bjelica dishing out almost 3. Andrew Wiggins dishing out 2. And so was Kevon Looney. But with this year's roster, your leading assister is... All right, you ready? You ready for this?
Mr. Green.
Yeah, Mr. Green, obviously. Okay, with 6.6. Then Steph Curry. They're still doing their things. Jordan Poole's still doing his thing. But Kevon Looney at 3. Okay. Then you got Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins 2.5 each. But then it falls off. Last year, they just had probably like 10 dudes like averaging almost 3 assists a night. Right now they have like 5 guys or 4 guys averaging 3 assists a night. And I just don't think there's enough ball movement on this team right now.
There's a ton of ball movement.
I know, but there's a ton of ball movement, but the correct ball movement to get like James Wiseman, like when you have a guard who sets up a big like James Wiseman, Steph Curry can do it. Jordan Poole can kind of do it. Jordan Poole is more of a combo guard. Dre can do it, but it's kind of weird having Dre set up for James Wiseman with James still also being young. Like James is still trying to figure it out, and I think they need to just instill his confidence and have him dominate not summer league, but the G League. And that'll allow, because do you remember what James Wiseman's stats were when he was in the G League? You want to hear this?
Sure.
James Wiseman, last time he was in the G League, he was not somebody to mess with. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh my God, James Wiseman is, the next thing since sliced bread. But he put up stats that you'd expect from a player of his caliber to put up in the G League. And these stats exactly. And I think I did a great job of milking that. 17 in 3 games. And 17 point, and he was injured. You remember this was when he was injured right before they like deactivated him. So this is injured. Take this. He was injured when he did this. 17.5 points, 9.5 rebounds in 20 minutes in 3 games. Shot 54% from the field. Had 2 blocks a game basically. Yeah, he had 4 turnovers, but he was efficient as all hell. And I don't know. I think
that's exactly what I've been saying for 4 straight weeks here is just put him in the G League because he's the best player probably in the G League in general, let alone the Santa Cruz Warriors. And I don't think him and Jordan Poole should be able to get the pick and roll going. Jordan Poole's a phenomenal pick and roll player, and so is James Wiseman. I don't have any issues with the distribution on Golden State. The only players they're missing from last year that were averaging over more than 2 assists were Bjelica, who was a tough loss, and Iguodala, who played 19 games. So I was expecting a lot more playmaking, facilitating from Dante DiVincenzo because I think it's very apparent that Jordan Poole is more of a shooting guard, but I don't think it's a huge issue. I mean, if they didn't win it all last year, I'd have a different thought. But yeah, I think Wiseman needs to be in the G League so he can get the ball in his hands, get that confidence up because it's demoralizing, man. You're the second pick in the draft a couple of years ago. You've battled injuries pretty much your whole NBA career, your whole career in general so far on the big stage. And you're not getting the ball much. You can tell there's film where he's upset. He's not getting the ball. And you also got to keep in mind, like, he's getting, no DMP, 15 minutes, DMP, 10 minutes. Like, it's just hard for anybody to build rhythm like that, let alone a young kid.
No, you're right. Let alone a young guy. You can't get better without consistent minutes, and that's why the G League is the best thing. I think just building. People also don't realize confidence is a huge part of it of your game. Like, I played yesterday, and I haven't played basketball in like a month, and I was so like, I got like my lungs were burning, and it was embarrassing. And I airballed 2 shots, and I was so mad at myself. Yeah, dude.
Sub.
I know. I was so mad.